What's up, y'all? Goofy Rexy here, and hope everybody is doing well. And welcome, guys, to the weekly headliner update, week number 80. Now, if you're new to the weekly headliner, this is where we discuss what is upcoming this week in Marvel Strike Force, and then we recap the important topics from the previous week as well. Now, we have lots of stuff to talk about here on the weekly headliner update. First, we're going to start off with the Famine Scourge event, which just recently ended last night. Going to do a quick recap here and then also talk about the predicted rank numbers so you can get an idea of where potentially you could land. We also have the new tech raid team information from last week. A lot to digest and unpack from that, although we've done that already. So we're just going to go over sort of a quick recap here and talk about some of the highlights and then also some of the concerns for that new tech raid team as well. We also have Valkyrie's event, which is going to be starting towards the end of this week. Of course, I know some of you guys have already made your purchases, open up your red stars for Valkyrie, but we're going to go over some details here for that event campaign to get you ready, or event for Valkyries to get you ready for that as well. Also, a juicy recap, I want to say, of some of the data mines that we've gotten over the past couple weeks, over the past couple of days. We're looking probably for a patch within the next week or two. So I'm going to go over some stuff and information here as to what potentially could be coming very soon. And then also, there are some little frustration right now with these Space Viking events. Some of the changes were good, but some of them, or some minor ones, definitely were not. But we're going to talk about this, guys, and so much more on the weekly headliner update. And we're going to start right now. All right, y'all, welcome back. And like I said, we have lots to talk about here on the weekly headliner update. The first thing I actually wanted to dive into was the Famine Scourge event, which ended last night. And right now we are waiting on our rank rewards for that event. But of course, we kind of knew, if you were paying attention to the blog post here, which I know not everybody does, we knew that there was going to be a little bit of delay in regards to when we were going to be able to get our rewards. So this blog post went out 2 days ago on the 16th and talked about the delay, but it also talked about some other important information as well in regards to the Famine Scourge event. So the first thing, we're not going to go through this whole thing. It's going to go through the important bullet points here. So first, as a reminder, there will be a delay between when the event ends and when rank rewards are delivered, likely 2 to 3 days. So this happened as well the last time with the Pestilence Scourge event, where the delays were out 2 to 3 days. Of course, then they screwed up those rewards, and then they had to send out additional rewards because like the red stars were wrong. It was a whole thing, right? So this was not necessarily surprising, although could for sure be annoying for some, I believe. But I'd rather them get it right and get us the rewards. Hopefully this time they do it right the first time, and then we can move on from there. But this was also very important too. So they wanted to address the issues with ties. So players that are tied for the last slot in a reward tier will receive rewards as though they finish in that slot. For example, a player with a run score that ties with the score currently showing at rank 50 will be sent rewards for rank 1 to 50, even if their current leaderboard standing shows them at a lower rank. So I do think that this is a nice little fix, because the way they did this before was the ties were based on TCP. If you had a higher TCP, then you got the better rank score, which doesn't make any sense because you both got the same score, right? So I'm glad that they're actually doing this and doing it in the right way. I feel like this has been very well received by players so far, but this is not something that you're going to be doing in the future, because they mentioned it down here that this solution is being used exclusively for this first one of the Famine Scourge event and not necessarily any other Scourge events. The dev team is going to work on more intricate solutions to help ensure that there are significantly fewer ties going forward in other Scourge events. I don't really trust this one, and the reason why is, how are you going to be that specific to prevent ties? I think a lot of players are going to share information and figure out how to be able to beat certain nodes. So then there's going to naturally be ways that players are going to get ties anyways. I don't really know if this is a solution that they should go with. I think this is probably something that they should probably do a little bit more permanently, where you're kind of doing, hey, a player gets the same score, they get the same rank rewards even if they're at a lower rank, because literally they got the same score. So that would be the way I would want them to do it, but let's see what they do in the future and how much this potentially could be screwed up. But in other words, there was a chart that was shared by Yuletide Bringer. Shout out to Yuletide, who was tracking the sort of scores and estimated scores for the Scourge event here for the Famine Scourge event. Jesus, this just said Scourge event and Scourge event multiple times. God almighty. All right, let's jump back into it. So these are sort of some of the predictions. This is probably going to be a chart that's going to be more helpful for you, right? If you're out of the top 5,000. So let's say that you're like number 5,500 rank, or you got 7,800 in your ranking. You're trying to figure out, okay, well, where am I going to land? Am I going to land in the top 1 to 2%? Am I going to land in the 3 to 4%? This chart is supposed to kind of help you to figure that out. Now, these are estimates. These are not the exact numbers. So we're going to have to see what those look like once they actually get the release. But if you're kind of curious in regards to where you potentially could land, this definitely could help. So I'm going to tag this or put this into in the description of the video here. So go take a look at it and click on that, and you can kind of get an idea. Looks like if you're, let's say, like you're 7,000 or something like that, that potentially you could be in the 1 to 2% range. If you're like 10,000, you potentially could be in the 3 to 4% range for your rank rewards. And of course, if you're like maybe you're 18,000, or sorry, if you're like 20,000, you potentially could be in the 7 to 8% range here. So those are estimates. Take a look at it and let me know where you potentially could be landed here for your rank rewards. I know that for me, some of you guys are probably going to ask me like, hey, where did you land? That's in the wrong event. Right now, I was at, which by the way, that was weird. I ended at 4,577. So I guess I kind of know exactly where I'm going to be at. I was like at 3,000 or some change, but before even the last day of the event. I didn't really try hard too much on this event. I got my 1.5 and I was like, yeah, that's probably going to give me 5 stars. I'm completely cool with that. So, and got my life back and was able to live and be at peace. All right, but the next thing I wanted to talk about here is the tech raid team, and a lot of information that went out last week in regards to this new Bionic Avenger team. If you haven't seen the blog post already, there were 2 blog posts essentially. There was one that talked about the rework to Vision and the rework to Iron Man, and this new character coming to the game, Hulkbuster. I don't know if you've ever heard of Hulkbuster before. Kidding. But yeah, Hulkbuster, that's going to be coming to the Bionic Avenger team. So this is going to be the new tech raid team that's going to be coming to Marvel Strike Force. We're expecting going to be next patch here. And then we have these 2 other new characters, Vision, which is Vision's daughter, and then Deathlock going to be coming, which I think Deathlock, we saw Deathlock in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., right? So that's going to be a new character that's going to be coming to this tech raid team as well. But I wanted to talk about some of the highlights for this team, and then also talk about some of the concerns that I have for this team as well. But let's start with some of the highlights here. This team looks really nasty, right? I'm going to tell you right now, they look amazing. Some of the highlights to talk about what is the extra damage that this team is going to have. So between Iron Man and Deathlock, this team has an incredibly high damage potential, right? So let's first look at Iron Man. Iron Man gives them these extra crit chance, and of course also gives them the crit damage as well. So if you're looking at his passive ability here, which eventually we'll get to, he's giving them 10% crit chance. Tech allies gain 5%. Bionic gain an extra 5%. When you add this all up in raids, they're getting an additional crit chance in raids. They're getting, essentially, he's giving them 40%. Not essentially, he's giving them 40% crit chance in raid content. Outside of raid content, I think it's only 20% extra crit chance. But in raids, they're gonna get a total here of 40%, 40% crit chance, meaning that if you put the Raider ISO on the other Bionic Avenger characters, that gives an additional 30% crit chance, and with their base 10%, they're all going to have a chance of critting at 80% of the time, which just gives them an insane amount of options here, or potential for damage if they're all going to crit. And of course 80%, I mean that's almost all the time when they're going to crit, right? And then when you're looking at and also they give them 40% crit damage too. I forgot to mention that, not just crit chance, but also giving them the extra 40% crit damage as well. So a lot of damage, right? You get the point. Then for Deathlock, if we look at his passive ability, which is kind of like stupid good, right? So Refurbish is what it's called. Unturn, gain 15% damage, and then all Bionic Avenger allies gain plus 15% damage up to a maximum of 45. So every time he takes a turn, gives them 15. They max out at 45% damage with the extra 80% crit chance and the extra 40% crit damage. they have a massively high potential here to do a lot of damage and to be able to blow through nodes quite quickly. And then, of course, if you're worried about cooldowns, another one of the highlights on this team too is that they're all a battery for each other. Basically, all of their specials and their ultimates give ability energy, whether it's to adjacents or just other Bionic Avenger allies, period. If some of the basics also give ability energy as well, specifically Deathlocks. Deathlocks can attack the primary target for 200% damage and can bonus attack 3 times. If he crits on any of these attacks, he will give them ability energy, right? So that will act, to be fair, in raids if this character has full energy and crits on any of these attacks, then you can generate 1 ability energy for up to 2 Bionic Avenger allies. And the developer note stated here that this attack can generate up to 4 ability energy. So if he crits on all 4 of these, then he's going to be able to give them ability energy. So they're a battery for each other, kind of keeps themselves charged up. The extra damage, I'm liking it so far, right? And then you're looking at one of the things that I was always concerned about when it comes to tech teams is, or what I've always said, my current tech team is fine with like Doom and Shuri and LDS and all these other characters and all Kestrel, right? It's fine with those characters now, but I just need a cleanse. I need somebody that I can plug in there and give me a cleanse. Well, this Bionic team is going to have a cleanser that's going to help them to survive some of these nodes. So if you look at Vision here, and I made a point of this and talked about this with Vision's passive ability. So if we jump back to Vision's passive here, where he made a call out to Vision, unally Vision ability block, clear all negative effects on that character. And that's very important for Vision because of her ultimate ability, which she gets on turn 1, where she can flip 2 negative effects to positive effects for all allies. And that's very crucial and big because of that Silver Surfer node, because of all of these nodes really where there's heal blocks, ability blocks. But if we're talking about that first node where, let's say that Vision gets ability block, well, Vision's going to clear the ability block, and then Vision is going to be able to then flip those ability blocks and the heal block that Silver Surfer does with his ultimate ability, and that's gonna be essentially the cleanse that they get. And of course you can get this back with getting ability energy from other characters too. But the reason why I like that, her being able to flip as opposed to just clearing it, is because ability block flips to evade. Heal block, right? I think heal block flips to death proof, right? So that makes them more tanky because of not being able, or not tanky, but being able to negate some damage there because of the evades. It's a 2-turn ability block, so you're gonna flip it to a 2-turn evade. I like it. I like the way that they've done this kit, and I think it's really helpful for just those tech nodes, which are really challenging. They have a lot of control, a little bit of control, I would say too. 3 characters have ability block. Deathlock has an ability block. Vision can also ability block, and so can Vision as well, can also ability block too. There's a speed bar reduction from Iron Man where he reduces speed bar by 30%. I think with his special, with his ultimate, one of his abilities does it to all enemies by 30%. They get defense up on turn 1. So I like this team, but there definitely are some concerns that I do have, and I wrote them down here. Some of the concerns is the similarities with Web Warriors. So part of it is good, right? The similarities that they have the high crit chance, the high crit damage. They're going to be able to do a lot of, they're going to be able to blow down a lot of characters, I think, relatively quickly. But also, a lot of their stuff is tied towards raids, right? And that's a little, now I don't think it's as much as Web Warriors. I think that there are some things that are still okay, that there's still some ability energy that they can get. It's just not as much as it would be in raids for some of the abilities. The crit damage, crit chance, like that goes down outside of raids. And being that they're going to be a Scourge team for the Death Scourge event, which we've probably going to expect a couple months from now, I'm a little concerned. I'm a little concerned as to if they're going to be able to hold up and be that main team, which they're probably going to be the main team based on the trend that usually the first team mentioned is usually the main Scourge team. So we'll see how they kind of add up here. And then also some cost in terms of just things like, for instance, like the hero uniques, right? So Iron Man has gamma radiation. Vision also is gamma radiation. We know that there are some rumors out there that there might be a gamma team. So it means that maybe one of those two characters probably could also take gamma radiation, or all could take gamma radiation. And you're going to need to build up this team to probably G15, maybe G16, right? So that's a lot of gamma radiation that you're going to need here in order to be able to make things like this work, in order to be able to build up this team. So there's definitely a little bit of a cost factor that is a concern as well. But overall, excited that Iron Man's going to rework, excited for this team to come into the game. They look like they're going to be fun. They may be an auto team for raids as well. So we'll see what that looks like as we move forward here. But wanted to kind of talk about the next thing here, which is Valkyrie. And she has, well, of course, her offers are currently in the store right now. We're going to be doing our Red Star opening a little bit later on, so we'll post a video and talk about that. But this is some data mine information in regards to Valkyrie. Her event is supposed to be going live this Saturday, I believe. So there's in-game mail here. Yep, now available. Valkyrie. This went out yesterday. Words, 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 and words. How to recruit. Hammer of God starting on July 23rd at 5 p.m. Pacific time. So we're expecting her event obviously on that Saturday, unless this is a typo and it actually really meant the 22nd, which is Friday. We will have to see. So there's, like I said, there's some data mine information here in regards to this event. The event itself is called Hammer of Gods. Party in Paradise is listed here. Score points towards this 7-day milestone by opening party animal orbs, which you're going to be able to get from the Hammer of Gods event campaign. So the characters that you will need are going to have the party animal tag, is from what I'm understanding. And if you filter out your roster right now, I'm gonna do it since we're talking about it. Party animal is right here. And you'll see some of the characters that you can use for the event campaign. Of course, you can also use Valkyrie if you purchased her, and of course, Mighty Thor and some of the other newer characters that have been released as well. But there's some notable ones: Kate Bishop, Beast with the Jubilee, there's Gambit, there's Squirrel Girl. So there are some good characters that are there that you can use, but we'll talk about that in a separate video here in regards to what are the best characters for that event. We'll go through that then. But jumping back to the data mines here, yes, 7-day milestone, Hammer of Gods event, in the opening party animal orbs in the Hammer of Gods event campaign and the Midgard Mash milestones, and by spending power chords. The rewards will include Valkyrie gear, Asgardian shards, Gauntlet of Heroes. Now, Gauntlet of Heroes is one of the special items that you will need. Let's mention right here, the Gauntlet of Heroes is going to give you the boosted points that you do need for the Summer of Thunder event. So definitely going to be very important to pay attention to how we're going to be able to get that and figure out the math so we can get those boosted points here. And then of course to talk about Milner fragments, which you'll get as well, 5 Red Star Thor if you're concerned about that, and more. Then they have this Midgard Mash. This is a 2-day milestone that repeats twice, where you'll need to blitz, and you get extra points for blitzing with characters that do have the party animal trait. They also have a web milestone as well, Cosmic Celebration web milestone. Spend your campaign energy, not included ISO campaign energy, to hit a daily milestone that rewards Legacy 3 orb fragments, silver promo credits, and then gold fragments. So big event, very important event, of course. Shout out to the guys who make this data mine, Benny, Westside, Minball, Tana. Thank you guys for doing this. This is really helpful information that helps us to be prepared. So look at that event here. Get yourself prepared. I guess there's going to be more blitzing that you're going to have to do, but hopefully the math on this is going to be fairly easy to complete, especially to be able to at least get the Gauntlet of Heroes, because that's going to be a very important one for the Summer of Thunder event. All right, the next thing I wanted to talk about were some data mines, man, and we got some stuff, a lot of stuff going on here in regards to some data mines. Not that page here, but this is the first thing that I wanted to kind of dive into. This was a data mine that went out last week on the 15th. And it's sort of preparing us for, I guess, the next patch that's supposed to be coming here, right? So, Commander, a new Marvel Strike Force update is coming soon, including the new Pestilence chapter, Apocalypse Saga, 5 new playable characters, new Doom Raid, new event campaign, Alliance War update, behind my big ass head, store updates, and more. Right, so some of this was kind of confusing. Let's talk about the patch, right? Like, I'm assuming that the next patch is probably going to be either next week or probably the week after. I did this like really quick. I was like, the last patch was on June 28th, so I was like, okay, well, what's 5 weeks from June 28th? August 2nd, Tuesday. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's going to be the first week in August, or it could be next week. But I'm suspecting that we're probably going to see some, we'll see whenever we see this in-game, this mail in-game, we'll know that the next week we're most likely going to be getting that patch, right? But some interesting things here. A new Pestilence chapter of Apocalypse Saga. I don't know what that means. Maybe it could mean that it's going to be something in regards to, we're probably going to find out who the actual next Scourge character is. I don't know. Or the next Horseman is. I don't know why they said Pestilence. It kind of leads me to think about Morgan, but I don't think that was their intent. I think that and this is a data mine, right? So obviously not everything is exactly how it is. But yeah, that was interesting to me. They also talked about 5 new playable characters. Now we know who 3 of those characters are going to be. We know it's going to be 3 of the Bionic Avengers, right? Deathlock, Vision, and then also Hulkbuster. But who are the other 2 characters? And I pulled up this graphic which was shared a couple weeks ago, or maybe sometime last week. And the rumors are that we may be getting Blade for the Dark Hunter team, and that we also may be getting Black Cat for the A-Force team. Now, I know some of us may be disappointed in regards to A-Force because we really want She-Hulk. She's on the cover of the comics. Like, what's going on, guys, right? Like, that's what we want. But of course, they make money with bringing in newer characters, so why would they just give you a simple rework? So it looks like potentially this could be it. Now, these are rumors. Like, this is not definitely what's going to happen, but definitely something to consider as you sort of kind of move forward here. Now, one of the things that we do know, or was shared last week based on a question that was asked, last week on the 13th, that somebody asked us on the Marvel Strike Force Twitter page, and they asked about silhouettes. And this was a message I was replied to by Abdallah Gatas. Sent this out to them and said, hey, when does the silhouettes come in? And this is what they said. They're going to be next week, which is this week, with the July 4th holiday and the attention being given to some other things that more directly impact players. We have to push a few of the social media fun stuff back to make room. So we're expecting that most likely this week we'll see those silhouettes. And if those silhouettes look like Black Cat and Blade, then you guys did a damn good job, all right? Whoever, for those who made this infographic, much love and appreciation to you guys. So that's what we're sort of kind of expecting here. We also saw in this that they mentioned a new Doom raid. So this was a couple weeks ago where this was also data mined that we're going to be getting the new Doom 3 raids, which I do believe is the reason why they're actually introducing this Bionic Avenger team, right? It's like early, because why would you release this team like way before you even, like, with death, like we're not even doing war yet. Like, why would you even introduce Bionic Avengers? We suspected that most likely Doom is the reason why, right? So players who are going to want to try these Doom 3 raids, here is your tech raid team now that you can use for these Doom 3 raids. So that is probably going to be, now we're going to be getting that. I'm curious to see when G17 is going to be introduced. I suspect probably patch 6.4 is maybe when we're going to be getting G17. So stay tuned for that as well, as we sort of kind of move forward here. But the rest of the stuff, a new event campaign that's going to be for a character, Alliance War update. They talked about this in the blog post. They're going to be changing the boost to minor deflects. So that's going to be interesting. Store updates they mentioned here as well. I'm just hoping that it's a slider. I keep on asking for a slider. Yesterday I was opening up a bunch of orbs for, I think it was, what was I opening up a bunch of orbs for? ISOs, my blue ISO orbs. And I was like, man, I gotta sit here and hit 10 and then 10. Man, just give me an opportunity here to just open up 50 at a time, right? I guarantee you, I will probably open up all of my purple raid orbs, although I don't necessarily need the gear for it, but I'll probably open up every single one of them if I had a slider. But give a brother a slider, man, so that he could go ahead and do that. But that's it in regards to sort of what we could expect in terms of a patch. We'll see whether it's next week or if it's the week after. We'll go from there. But the next thing to talk about, holy tabs, man, I can't even keep track of this. Oh, I was supposed to show this one too. This was kind of the rumors right now, what we're expecting for Apocalypse, that it might be Rogue. We know about Rogue, we know about Morgan, but that Red Hulk is going to be the War Horseman and that Archangel is going to be the Death Horseman. That's what we're assuming is going to be the thing here, or that's what was data mined as the thing. But let's talk about some other stuff here. And the next thing for me was Space Vikings, right? So we had some changes to the Space Viking event. I made two videos ultimately. One, the weekly headliner, talking about what we were gonna be getting for the Space Viking event initially, and then throughout the week they made some changes to the Azer Interstellar, Electric Azer milestone, and then the Interstellar Longship milestone. Now, the way that it was previously done before is that it was an incredibly blitz heavy event. It was a very blitz heavy event where essentially you had to kind of max out your blitz rotations in order to be able to get the Mjolnir fragments that you could from the Space Viking milestone. So in order for you to be able to get all the way to milestone 29, the way that it was previously stated before is that you would have essentially had to blitz, like I said, max out your rotations, 8 rotations a day, just to be able to have a chance of getting to milestone 29 to get the Mjolnir fragments. So they changed the event to where it's less blitz heavy. Now you're going to be able to complete the Interstellar milestone individually, not the Space Viking milestone, that now you only have to blitz like 2 or 3 times a day, depending on your roster. If you're an endgame roster, probably 2 times. If you're earlier, depending on where you are, maybe 3, 4, maybe even 5 times that you would have to blitz to get the rewards for the Interstellar milestone, which you would need to get in order to be able to complete the Space Viking milestone. Well, they changed that now to where essentially if you wanted to even get the Mjolnir fragments, you're not going to be able to do it, right? So now, before you could get to milestone 29 if you grinded it out. With the new changes, you can actually only get to milestone 28. So although you're doing less activity, I didn't explain that very well, but ultimately you're doing less activity now, but you're also not even able to get an opportunity to get to milestone 29, which I think for a lot of players feel bad. And I'll talk about the reason why it feels that bad, right? Is that the frags before were achievable prior to it was just very super grindy, but at least some players will do it just to be able to get these 2,080 Mjolnir fragments. The issue is that free to play, if you're doing this entire Summer of Thunder event free to play, it's just very tight. You don't know, and you don't know what you need from what you don't need, right? So you don't know how hard you have to go on certain events. You don't know if, even if you do go hard, whether or not you'll be able to complete certain things. Like players had that happen the last time with the Rolling Rebel milestone, right? Where they participated heavily. They may have missed some things, like minorly, like missed maybe a reset or something like that, and we're not able to get the rest of the Mjolnir fragments, when the rest of the Rolling Rebel milestones or Rolling Rebel emblems, whatever, you know what I'm talking about, in order to be able to complete the milestones. And then this here, like when you're looking at these 2,000 Mjolnir fragments, you're like, am I gonna need those? And if I can't get those, am I screwed to be able to complete the Summer of Thunder event? So that I don't like, for that reason. I guess the way I look at this is, at least I got the 50k points, right, for the previous Summer of Thunder milestone. So at least I can kind of rest on that and know that, okay, at least for the Summer of Thunder, I know I'll get all the shards. I just may not get the last milestone with the fully crafted pieces of gear and the Armory 16s. That's the part I think that probably feels bad when you kind of look at this thing overall. But I'm fitting, guys. I'm fit. It's a lot of information here. I know I probably didn't explain that very well, but what are your thoughts overall on the changes to the Space Viking event? Like, where are you guys in regards to that here? Just want to kind of wrap up with a couple of things. We do have some changes to the Strike Pass, which is mentioned here in this blog post. When I say changes, an update in regards to who's going to be coming for this next Strike Pass. So we're going to be getting Dr. Voodoo in this one that's going to be starting on July 19th. So continue to collect your rewards today for the Strike Pass, but tomorrow on the 19th, don't collect your rewards until the reset time, because there's going to be a new Strike Pass. So make sure that you're using those tokens towards the new Strike Pass. If you've already completed the current one already, of course, that's worth mentioning. There are also some other Summer of Thunder events that are going to be starting. So we have the Coordinated Assault event, which this is the one where you spend your ISO campaign energy as an alliance, and then you're able to get some extra Mjolnir fragments, some extra resources that are here. So do take advantage of that. That's going to start. We have the Quick Rumble Blitz. This one is going to be featuring X-Force. That's where you're going to be able to get the extra points for your X-Force character. So once again, take advantage of that as well. You get higher points depending on where your characters are in terms of stars. So do also look at that as well. There is an Elite Store update, which will now feature Rogue which of course is already live from my understanding, right? No, that is incredibly incorrect. On the 20th, which is probably where we're going to be getting our rank rewards here. You're going to be able to go ahead and use your dark promo credits on Rogue. So don't forget that, and do try to take advantage of that as well. Also, there's some issues with the Elite Store where there's a lot of characters right now that seem to be behind. Like characters like the A-Force team are not currently in the Elite Store. So hopefully they're going to sort of kind of catch up with that where that is concerned. T'Challa is also going to be farmable now in the Doom 3.9 campaign, replacing Multiple Man. Multiple Man is going to be going to the Raid Store, which is, I guess, okay for some players who probably weren't able to get to Doom 3.9 before, and now will have access to being able to get to Multiple Man. Obviously, Multiple Man is important if you want to be able to unlock Adam Warlock. So yes, it's better for that perspective for some players, I think, because I think they will be able to get 1,400 credits a little bit more than some players who have not even been able to complete the Doom Chapter 2 campaign yet. Maybe they'll have access to some of those characters a little bit earlier on now. And then some other things, there's a blitz right now for Sharon Carter. Phoenix is back. Congratulations to those who are getting Phoenix. Chaos Theory is going to be on Friday. So opportunity to get some more gold promo credits, some more silver promotion credits as well, guys. All right, that's going to be it for me. What are your thoughts on all of these events that are going on right now? All these things that are going on in the game right now, right? Famine Scourge. Curious to see where your numbers are going to land here for the Tech Raid team. They look amazing. Concerns, of course, though, about them in the Scourge event. We'll see what that looks like. The Valkyrie's event, that starts on Saturday. A little bit of, hopefully it's not too much blitzing, I would say. I'm definitely hoping that we just don't have to blitz that much. And then the data mines, interesting data mines going on there. Space Viking, are you upset with the changes? Would you prefer it to be more grindy but have the opportunity to get the Valkyrie, the Milner fragments? Let me know, guys. But until next time, always, as usual, guys, appreciate you guys watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until next time, guys, y'all be blessed. Y'all be safe.